Today we are going to look at finding the x and y intercepts of a linear equation. So let's get started. Here we have the linear equation y equal to 1/2 x plus 2. And we're asked to graph this equation. Now to graph an equation, that means we're going to draw the line that represents all the points. So all those ordered pairs of x and y values that satisfy this equation. So when we plug x and y back into this equation, we get a true statement. Now, one way to graph this equation is to find a few of those points. So we can complete a table of values. So let's pick some x values and determine their corresponding y values. Now we can pick any numbers we want, but I'll usually pick 0 if allowed because the arithmetic is often easier than it is with other numbers. So when x is equal to 0, we have 1/2 times 0 plus 2. So we have a y value of 2. So this is the ordered pair 0, 2. And we can put that on our graph. Now we're multiplying our x value by 1/2. So although I can pick any values for x, I'm going to pick numbers that are divisible by 2. That way I don't end up with any fractions. So let's pick an x value of 2. So with an x value of 2, we have 1/2 times 2 plus 2. So this is going to be 1 plus 2, and that's 3. So we have the ordered pair 2, 3. And we'll graph that point. And then let's do -2. So we have 1/2 times -2 plus 2. That's -1 plus 2, giving us +1. So the ordered pair -2, 1. And how about one more? We'll do -4. So 1/2 times -4 plus 2. That's equal to -2 plus 2, and that is 0. So we have the ordered pair -4, 0. And then from these 4 points, we get the graph of this linear equation. There are some important characteristics of a line. One is the slope, the rate of change, or the rise over the run that we looked at in a previous unit, and we will look at slope again, probably in the next lesson. Other important characteristics of linear equations are the intercepts. So where the graph crosses either the x-axis or the y-axis. In this example, the line appears to cross the x-axis at -4. So the x value of the ordered pair is -4. But since it's on the x-axis, we don't go up or down. So we have a y-coordinate value of 0. The ordered pair of the x-intercept is -4, 0 for this example. Now let's look at where the graph crosses the y-axis. It appears to cross at a value of 2. So the ordered pair will have a y-coordinate value of 2. And since we stay on this y-axis, we don't move to the right or left. So the x-coordinate value of the y-intercept is 0. And we have the ordered pair 0, 2 for this y-intercept. So for this example, when we created the table to graph the equation, we did end up getting both the y-intercept, 0, 2, and the x-intercept, negative 4, 0. Let's review the x and y intercepts. The x-intercept of the line is where the graph crosses the x-axis. In this example, it crosses with an x value of 3, so the x-coordinate value will be 3, and then the y value will be 0. The y-coordinate value for all x-intercepts is 0. The y-intercept of the line is where the graph crosses the y-axis. In this case, it crosses at 2, so the y-coordinate value will be 2, and the x value for all y-intercepts is 0. And we end up with the ordered pair 0, 2. Now for these two examples, the intercepts were written as ordered pairs. But you can also just say the x-intercept is 3. And that means the same as the ordered pair 3, 0. And if I have an ordered pair with a y-coordinate value of 0, then that x-coordinate is the x-intercept of the line. And then same with the y-intercept. We can write it as an ordered pair, or we can state the y-intercept is 2. If we know that the y-intercept is 2, we know that the ordered pair is 0, 2. And if we're given an ordered pair that has an x value of 0, then we know that that is the y-intercept. Let's practice finding the x and y-intercepts of a few lines. We'll do it graphically first. So we're going to find the x-intercept and y-intercept for the two lines below. And for these examples, assume that the intercepts are integers. Now I say this because appearances can be deceiving. So never assume a value just from the pictures. So for this first one, the x-intercept has a value of 1. So this ordered pair is 1, 0. Or we can say the x-intercept is 1. And then we have a y-intercept of negative 3. We can write the ordered pair 0, negative 3. Or the y-intercept is negative 3. With this second problem, we have an x-intercept of negative 4. So this is the ordered pair, negative 4, 0. Or an x-intercept is negative 4. And then our y-intercept is 1. And that's the ordered pair 0, 1. Or we can write the y-intercept is 1. So it is possible to find the x and y intercepts using a graph, but it's more common to find the x and y intercepts for the line algebraically. So when we're looking at the x-intercept, we know that the y value is going to be 0. So we're going to set the y value equal to 0 and solve for x to find the x-intercept. So we'll add 4 to both sides here. This gives us 4 equal to 3x, and then divide by 3. And so we get an x value of 4/3. So the x-intercept is 4/3, 0. And then for the y-intercept, well, with the y-intercept, our x value is equal to 0. So wherever there is an x in the equation, we're going to substitute a 0. So we end up with 3 times 0 minus 4. So we have a y value of negative 4. And the y-intercept is 0, negative 4. You can also write this as the x-intercept is 4/3. Or the y-intercept is negative 4. Looking at a graph, and I'm using Desmos. This is a free online graphing calculator. And it appears to cross the y-axis at negative 4. And it's crossing the x-axis about 1/3 of the way between 1 and 2. And 4/3 is the same as 1 and 1/3. We'll try another one. Here we have the equation y equal to 2/3 x. So to find that x-intercept, the y value will be equal to 0. So wherever there is a y in the equation, we'll replace it with a 0. So we have 0 equal to 2/3 x. So now we're going to divide by 2/3, which is the same thing as multiplying by 3/2. Multiply by the reciprocal. Do that to both sides. 3/2 times 0 is 0. We end up with 0 equal to x. So we have the origin. We have 0, 0. Or we can say that the x-intercept is 0. Now let's find the y-intercept. And again, for all y-intercepts, the x value will be equal to 0. So now we're going to set all of our x values to be 0. So we have 2/3 times 0. That gives us y equal to 0. And again, we have the origin. So the y-intercept is also 0. And if we look at this graph, it appears that the line goes straight through the origin. And then finally, we have the linear equation 6x plus 5y equal to 20. And to find that x-intercept, for all x-intercepts, the y value will be 0. So we now have 6x plus 5 times 0 is equal to 20. So this is 6x equal to 20 because 5 times 0 is 0. Now we have x equal to 20 over 6. We could simplify this down. So 20 over 6 is 10 over 3. And then we can write this as 3 1/3. So the x-intercept is 3 1/3. Or we can write it as a ordered pair, so 10/3, 0 with the improper fraction, or we can write it with 3 1/3. And then the y-intercept, for all y-intercepts, the x value will be equal to 0. So this gives us 6 times 0 plus 5y equal to 20. So 6 times 0 is 0. We have 5y equal to 20. And then dividing both sides by 5, we get y equal to 4. So we have the ordered pair 0, 4. Or we can say the y-intercept is 4. And then looking at a graph of this line, it appears this graph is intercepting the y-axis at 4. And also about 1/3 of the way between 3 and 4. So 3 1/3 for an x-intercept. A great way to learn is to practice on your own. We will discuss in a bit, but go ahead and pause your screen and do these 2 problems. So when we're finding x and y intercepts for our line, we're using this knowledge that wherever the x-intercept is, the y value is going to be 0. So we're going to plug that y value of 0 into the original equation and solve for x. And that gives us an x-intercept of 20. Or we can say ordered pair 20, 0. And then for the y-intercept, for y-intercepts, the x value will always be 0. So we plug in a value of x equal to 0 into the equation and then solve for y, giving us a y-intercept of -4, which is the same as the ordered pair 0, -4. And then looking at this graph, we see that it crosses the y-axis at -4 and the x-axis at 20. For this second problem, so to find the x-intercept, we set y equal to 0 to get our x value of 2. To get the y-intercept, we set the x value equal to 0 to get our y value of 4. And then looking at this graph, we have a y-intercept of 4. This is at 0, 4. And an x-intercept at 2, 2, 0. Continue practicing finding the x and y intercepts of a line, and I'll see you in the next video.